Hello, I'm Dave Clark from the Bridgestone Bikers website, www.bridgestonebikersclub.co.uk/Clarky. It's another product review today. Biking season's upon us. It's the start of March. You'll be taking your pride and joy out very soon and trying to brush up on all those skills that you've forgotten about over the winter. Now, maybe you're thinking about going and doing a track day, or you're doing some racing this year. We're going to look at some crash protection. It's inevitable. It's going to happen at some point. When it does, you need to plan for it and make sure it's not too expensive. We're going to have a look at GB Racing engine covers, which are quite simple. Take bolts out, stick them on, put bolts in. What could be simpler than that? Let's have a look. As you can see, the GB Racing covers are a really good grade nylon, quite heavy, mounted onto different parts of the engine case by about 3 bolts. Now, these are MCRCB approved and FIM approved, which means that they've been approved by the governing bodies of all sorts of motorsports for use on track. And if your bike goes down, that's going to take the damage, not the engine cases. Whether it's going to save enough of your fairings to make a difference, I'm really not sure. But one thing, it's definitely going to keep your engine going, because you won't wear through the cases and start spilling a load of oil out somewhere, obviously, which has consequences all of its own. So how easy is this GB Racing kit to fit? Remove 4 of the stock bolts off the casing. I did think that you need to remove the lower fairing on this bike. You actually don't. Read the instructions, Dave, and you'll find out just how easy it actually is. So take each bolt out. Now, they'll be a little bit stiff to crack. Obviously, you've got a gasket in some bikes. In the newer bikes, you've got instant gasket. It's just like a liquid. Now, when you take these off, make sure you retain all your stock bolts, because should you ever come to sell your bike, if you don't want to sell it with the crash protection on, then you can quite easily take them off and probably go and stick them on eBay and make a few quid back for your investment. Obviously, that's unless you've used them. If you have used them, they're probably not going to be worth a fat lot. It's easy to crack the bolt with a ratchet. Saves you doing dental work or popping veins out of your forehead. So all 4 stock bolts off. We're just going to marry the engine cover up onto the case. Just check it's a snug fit. The bolts that come with the engine covers are a little bit longer to allow for the thickness of the plastic. I think it's actually nylon. And it does say on here that they need to be torqued up to 10 Newton meters if you've got a torque wrench. Now, I have. The only downside I found with these so far is the socket set is too fat to actually go in the recess. Unless you've got a deep socket, which will probably be useful. It's an 8mm, all readily available. Personally, for 10 Newton meters of torque, I'd do it by hand. 10 Newton meters isn't a lot. It's basically nip it up till it gets tight, maybe give it an 1/8 of a turn after that, and I'd guess that's going to be more than adequate. Of course, on the engine cover, you've got about 12 bolts that hold it in anyway. I mean, I'm not saying you should take any of them out and make any of them loose, but there you go. Put one more in, and then as with anything that you tighten up, it's just a case of go through and tighten them all diagonally across from each other. In fact, the instructions do tell you which bolt to do first, and it's 1, 3, 2, 4. So let's get those tightened up. Don't pop a vein. Et voila. That is the generator cover on a CBR 600RR. Protected. Looks great. So fingers crossed we'll never have to use the crash protection. If we do, you'll find out. www.bridgestonebikersclub.co.uk/Clarky. See you next time.